Let's start with the beef top loin. The sirloin end seen here is comprised of two muscles, a portion of the sirloin and a portion of the loin. The opposite end has one muscle. Let's start from the sirloin end. The object here is to cut through that portion of the muscle. But before we start, we need to face the end of the loin. This will give us a nice parallel face cut. Now we want to cut these steaks until we are through that portion of the sirloin muscle. Typically 3 to 4 steaks. Looks like we're through it. Trim your steaks. Sometimes these steaks are referred to as vein steaks, but we are going to call these beef top loin, sirloin end steaks. Now we are going to remove the fat from the outside, and we're going to trim this down to about 1/8 of an inch. That'll be a nice amount of fat for a roast or for fillets. Locate the heavy connective tissue on the side of the loin. Sometimes it's referred to as a back strap. It's extremely thick and tough and should be removed. Turn the loin over and locate the tail. Depending on what type of loin you started with, the tail could have various sizes. Remove any fat or connective tissue, and then we're simply going to cut this in half lengthways. Now we have 2 loin portion halves. In order to give the strip loin that nice round fillet shape, we will use the aid of the cone and the netting. Simply slide the netting over the cone, and this will help mold the shape. Cut the netting and grab the loin half, and we are going to slide it through the cone. Once the loin is through the cone, grab the net and the loin at the same time. This will help keep the netting straight. Continue for both pieces, or how many pieces you may be processing at the time. These loin halves can be left whole for a beef loin petite roast, or portioned in half for a smaller roast. Typically when portioned in half, they're about 1.5 to 2.5 convenient pounds. Either portion can be used for roast or fillets. So here we're going to start taking our fillets, approximately 1 3/4 to 2 inches thick. Consumers like the look and the shape of the fillets, and they feel that the netting brings a value, that hand-tied approach, or that you've taken the time to provide them an extra special cut. Now, we could continue to cut these thicker, but you can actually take them down for a smaller portion, about 1 inch thick. Those would portion nicely into 4 to 6 ounces, the thicker cuts probably closer to 6 to 8. So here we have our beef top loin, sirloin end cuts, our beef top loin petite roasts, our thicker top loin fillets, and our thinner top loin fillets.